evening, welcome back. So, welcome back to Guess What Game. We're doing some painting, we're doing Yndrasta, the celestial spear. Just going to finish off. We've had a couple of interesting hiccups in the schedule where I wasn't sure if my toddlers had COVID, so I had to isolate, and then that meant I couldn't get some new paints and stuff I was waiting in. And then it's been ridiculously hot, so it's been a little more of a challenge to keep the kids entertained and to paint. Like the room I painted in was basically like just a sweatbox. It wasn't happening. Not just because it was like uncomfy, but just because I was a bit worried that everything would just turn to gloop. So I had to move like all my paints around, make sure nothing was next to the window. So we're back. We're gonna finish off. So we've got. Just a couple of things to do. We're going to do a little bit of work on the wings just to darken them down, and then a bit of dry brushing to pick out the details. But generally speaking, I'm happy with how the wings look, which is good. We've got like that ombre of the blues into the whites, which is cool. So we've got that to do. I've got a little bit of fixing on the spear, where at some point I've caught it with a brush while I had gold on. Just got like this little like a squiggle of gold on the top, and then we've got the breastplate. So this area that's no longer as shiny as it once was. If I let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see. If we look at the knee, in fact, if we look at the legs, we'll see like the shine and like that layering. Whereas the chest looks a bit dull, and that's basically just because when I fit her together, she really didn't want to go together, so I ended up having to like really like squash her in, and essentially mess up the chest. But it's okay. Like the rest I'm happy with. So yeah, just a couple of touch-ups to finish it off, and then we'll do a slap of stuff on the scenic base, and I've now got I have to look Astra Granite, which is like one of the technical paints for the very base, and that's just following the guy I'm doing it for. All his Stormcast at the same base. So good tip if you're doing painting for someone else, check how they want things done. So like Tom's been like super good in that he's very much like let me do what I wanted, so I've stayed quite close to the box art, but I've done like a bit of different stuff with the wings and the glow. I thought it'd be like a little bit of a nicer touch. I need to do her eyes a little bit more glowy as well. Yeah, obviously you wanted to make sure that the basing itself, although there's not much of it that's like not the cool bit, matches the rest of the Stormcast, which makes sense. So yeah, don't forget to ask if you're painting for someone else. How is your army based? Like, I was talking to Tom and I was like, I think I'll do like some like sort of swampy liquids. I'll use some like Nurgle's Rot and stuff, and then sort of blend that into like some dirt and rocks. And he's like, all my Stormcast is like this. It's like, well, that's what we'll do. But of course, I didn't have any Astra Granite. I couldn't leave the house for 10 days, so I couldn't get it. And I could have bought it, and but like it would have been like twice the cost to buy it and then have it delivered. So it's a bit like, I'll just wait, it'll be okay. And then the heat was ridiculous, so it was fun. So we're going to start with the wings. We're going to do nice and easy. We're just going to do a quick wash of, just going to chuck some null oil on them, just to darken them down, and then we'll do a little bit of work to get it back up afterwards, basically. So obviously it's already all together now, but it's not to a point where it's going to be like in the way. So I'm going to do quite light near the tops of the wings and let it sort of recess a little bit. So we're just doing basically the whole lot. Just going to pick out all of these flecks and stuff, and then when we do the dry brushing, it helps my pot wants to stay open. So I'm like, how much stuff is like slightly different shape when it was a week ago. If you're watching and you're not in the UK, and you're looking at like our temperatures, and like, what are they on about? It's not that hot. We don't have aircon doesn't exist, like unless you're like in a big office or something, pretty much, or in a very new building, I guess. So for most of us, aircon is like this crazy dream the Americans have, and it makes them much more able to withstand the highs rather than the lows. But yeah, so we're just gonna quickly sort of roll over the wings here. It's not gonna make it's gonna be quite hard for you to see this, guys. So this is just like the back. Yeah, we'll just bring it down. Let it have like a little bit of a greater effect on the bottom. The longer wings will just naturally catch a bit more. But I don't really want to have too much pooling. And the idea here as well is it just like helps to highlight like the underwing, this little section here where the wings are all sort of tying together. So I'm just going to do all of the section here, and then we'll basically flip her over and do the same again. But, nice and simple. If we missed, I miss a wing up here. A wing? We missed a feather rather than an entire wing. That would be interesting to miss extra wings. So she's done on that side. Just gonna make sure we've got like that little bit of a darker edge to the blue, and then we'll swap sides. Get the top feathers are gonna pick out like a little bit easier because they're smaller and there's more texture basically to work with. So that's what we'll have there, and then we'll start to work it down the individual feathers to the base. I'm just starting to slap it on. You'll see it's like a little bit heavier on this side, but we'll basically go back over it and make sure there's not too much pooling in a minute. But yeah, what have people been doing while it's been super hot? I had a game around a friend's in the garden, which was super cool. Our club night was basically overbooked, but I'm lucky that despite living on like the edge of the countryside, my local club is like 10 minutes from my house, if that, a generous 10 minutes. So we went around to my friends, we started a game, we got going, and then you realise this outside light only came on when it wanted to. So we played for a while and then enjoyed some nice cool drinks while I worked out how to get home from the edge of nowhere to the other edge of nowhere. It was fine, but yeah, lights apparently are something you need to play games with. Who'd have thought, right? Who'd have thought that? But so just so you can see here, we've just got like these little bits where they're picking out the darker areas, and then we'll pick that off a bit. That's okay. And then yeah, this will just get dry brushed. Basically, we'll probably just do like a dead white, Tillman on Iona, thanks for the likes. It's much appreciated. But yeah, we're just gonna finish off exactly the same on the other wing. What we're looking at basically is just like to help sort of bring out that definition without, like, you could do this by hand. Like I watch other people painting as well. I don't just game and paint. I think I'm okay, but I watch other painters and like get enjoyment out of it as well. So I've seen people that have done it this with washes. I've seen people that have done it with dry brushing. I've seen people that have done it just individually picking out feathers by hand. It's like, well, it's individual choice, right? But, so if you're looking for options, go just Google. Okay, I said Google. Just search for painting Yndrasta, and you'll find, I imagine, a wealth of options of different people going, this is how I've done it, and you can copy them, copy parts of them, copy all of them, or you can just essentially fake a little hobby room, right? You could just sit there and be like, I'm essentially painting while I'm watching someone painting. There's nothing wrong with that if you want a bit of inspiration as you go, or it helps you to concentrate. Or sometimes I'll put a film on when I'm painting. It's got to be something I've watched before. I can't watch like a new film. It could be like, oh yeah, here we go, right? It could be like, I'll watch this new film that I'm actually invested in watching, because I thought one thing will happen. I'll either stop painting or I'll stop watching the film. At which point you just literally like, right, well, that was a waste of time, right? My nose is so itchy. I've got the door and the window open because it's still been pretty hot, but it's not been too bad. But yeah, I've got a nice breeze coming through, and I'm like, my hay fever's like, no, don't let nature near you. But I'm like, but the air, I want the air, like 100%. So we're talking about films. While I'm just doing these easy bits, I've posted on, if you follow me on Facebook, so you follow me on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and well, I guess like I've started to be a bit better at updating like my Instagram and like my Patreon and Twitter and the website itself, so you can check out like the live stream is on chaosborngaming.com, and like some interesting, like some info about me, some pictures. And also I've got like a game, what if I called it, like a game support page. So War Machine is like the main game I play, so I've got like links to the rules, it's free to play, and like the scenario packets. So basically like you can just check out the objectives or the setup and stuff like that. It's kind of handy. But what's I talking about here? So yes, you can see that, but you'll see if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see I shared the new trailer for Dune. Like, I love the Dune films. I love the old Dune films. I love the Children of Dune. I love the remake. The Children of Dune might be my favourite. Like, to be honest, I think Children of Dune is amazing, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen it. But this new version looks mighty fine. I've watched the trailer, like it came out today. I've watched the trailer 3 times, and I'm like, oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. I think the casting seems pretty phenomenal, and like, not all, I wouldn't have pictured all of them like myself if you'd gone, who do you like want to see as Baron Harkonnen? I wouldn't have said Drax the Destroyer, whatever his name is, for Guardians, but having seen some clips and seen some stills, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see it. I can see that's going to work. So, I think they've done a phenomenal job on that, and it has the feeling of an epic, a truly epic sci-fi. I'm like, what's the last like epic sci-fi where there's like huge like battles? Yeah, think like Lord of the Rings, right? Like outside of having Star Wars, because Star Trek's not really like that. I guess like they have like the fleet battles, I suppose, might come somewhere near like floating your boat for it. But I think you're gonna get anything quite on like a Lord of the Rings style for sci-fi very easily. I think Dune might be it. I think Dune might be the thing that cracks it and goes, this is what epic sci-fi could be. You know, traveling between worlds through like, you know, through the navigator's will, folding space, using, you know, crazy drugs and ginormous sandworms and aliens and like the fighting. It looks cool. The Dune trailer looks amazing. So we'll just leave this to dry for a bit. So we've basically just like dulled it down, and then we'll add a nice bit of dry brush just to bring it back up. So the things we want to work on are the metallics. So the metallics that have failed, unfortunately failed, are the gold. I said are the gold. The chest piece. So I'm going to work on that now. So just pick up, whip out just like a little palette. I'm going to start doing some little bit of work with what we've got. All of these metallics are all a Vallejo metal colour. If you haven't watched like the earlier streams, or I guess watch the earlier parts, you can watch it back on like YouTube. This is part 4, I think, like my last part. There's been a lot of me fighting with airbrushes and not being happy with how things are, so going back to like touch things up. So this essentially is me fixing stuff that I'd already done. So if you want to know how I've done these metallics, but without having to watch all over it, this is how I've done it. It's we start with Vallejo metal colored gold. So just gonna add it to these sections here, and then we'll wash it down in a minute. Like, I'm looking and going, how bad do we get? I think this, yeah. Be careful about how much. Oh, hello, we've got. Hello, the wife enters. Sounds like she's either after lollies or water. Yeah, so we're just gonna apply that first layer of just the gold. You see, it's really nice. It's like really good coverage. So even though it's an airbrush paint, and I did the initial coats and stuff with an airbrush, you don't have to. Like, it's really nice. It's basically pre-thinned for you. You don't have to worry about like what will I do about thinning it, or can I get away with just using a brush? You absolutely can. Like, so I've had a bunch of problems with my airbrush through this. So it's the initial gold was all through the airbrush. But then everything else has just been by hand. So yeah, if you ever look at the Vallejo stuff and go, this looks really nice, and people talk to you and say, yeah, this is really cool, and you're kind of like, well, I don't have an airbrush, I don't want to spend that much money getting one, you know, not sure I like it. Don't worry about it. Just buy the paint. Buy the paint. It's amazing. Like, so this. If I look at the bottom section. Because I can zoom in a little bit on the legs. Let's have a look at her legs, shall we? So this is this bottom section, obviously the gold section rather than the steel, was Vallejo metal colour. Let me show you this quickly. I get this. Woo, metal colour. Spelt thusly. I probably got shakes in my hands there. A lot of guard today in the heat. What a clever idea. Metal colour. So metal colour gold. And then wash it down with Reichland Flesh Shade, but the gloss version. Because you want to like maintain the metallic shimmer, the sheen. My made paints, by the way. Thanks for the like. Appreciate it. And then once that's gone, we basically work it back up. So we do another like a highlight of just the gold again. So the metal colour gold. But I kind of like how in the artwork some of her armour is almost like whitish gold. So obviously we've got the distinction of the two different like metals, but the gold does go pretty light. So we do a highlight of gold, and then we add a bit of metal colour chrome into the mix, and then we do like a final. So we do a highlight with that on top of it, and then we do a final highlight of just chrome on like the very like tips of stuff, which is how we have what we have on these bottom sections, and then the comet tails like on the top and the bottom are basically like a similar approach, but it's metal colour steel, and that gets steel. I used it was steel, yeah, steel, and then that was then washed down with non-oil, and then I get steel on it again, and then chrome is the highlight, and that's all you need. So we're waiting basically on the breastplate, which is looking a bit more shiny. We're getting there, but we'll do these little tweaks and work on different things as we go. So while we're doing that, I'm going to let's find a bit of room. I'm going to drop some paint on the floor. Great stuff. I'm going to wear shorts and no shoes, so I can use my. Can I pick up the? Yeah, there we go. Pick up the paint up with the with the toes. Lovely. So basically, we're just going to make like a little bit of a blue to be able to put in. So she's got like a bit of a glow to her eyes. I think we'll probably want to, so we're going to use like a bit of like Lamia medium and a tiny bit of, I think we've gone for electric blue. Again from the Vallejo Game Air range. So if you haven't seen it, Game Air versus like colour. It's like a little bit different. It's basically like the more vibrant, more fantasy sort of colours. I think that's okay there. So just gonna mix this up quickly. Make sure we're happy with it. I think that's great. Get on that with a very small brush to her eyes. So somehow I managed to work one of her eyes and not the other. Pro painting. One eye is done, the other eye is not so done. So this should be like. Let's have a little look. Can we see? Can you see? Is it hot? I'm trying to work out if you guys can see. This isn't the day for me to be doing like the very finest things. I was like, this can be like a lot of little touch-ups, not necessarily detailed touch-ups. And then I'm just gonna go. Yeah, my arm's proper shaky today. Let's see. Let me have a look here. Pick a bit of that out with the brush. So we'll come back in a second. Come on, my hands are not a A lot of green with me today. I'll do let's find that. So just a little bit of glow to the eye, basically. It's essentially just like a really washed down bit of the blue. So we've got that. We've got the steel to fix as well. So this is zoom out a bit. We're kind of getting a little bit too close. There we go. So this is a similar thing where at some point during the gold, I managed to catch the very top of the spear. And we've got a little gold fleck across it. Which is a pain in the arse, a pain in my arse. It's only on the one side, so I'm just gonna basically gonna have to just redo this one side of the blade, which shouldn't take me too long. I look at the other side going, am I happy with that? Well, may as well do it both, so I'll end up even out. And I'm kind of happy with this sword, so that's fine. So we're gonna leave that to dry as well. We're basically just like working on like little sections, just to go, this is done, this is done. We'll let those wings dry a little bit more. We'll let the gold dry. The gold might be alright to start. Yeah, we should let the gold dry a little bit. But on a whole, I'm pretty happy with how she's looking. The plan is, we're on Thursday, so the plan is to have this completely finished to take to our club on Monday to give it back to back to her owner. But yeah, I quite like the red. I think it's like not too dark, not too light. We'll finish the wings in the next like half an hour after that. We've got these little touch-ups, these little extras to just come out and get onto. So, and again, one of the things with the blouse up is because it's really thin. Yeah, if you apply it by airbrush, it's going to dry so quick. But even slap it on with a paintbrush, it's still pretty good at being like a quick dry. The wings need a little bit longer, but we'll see. Let's have a little quick. I'm going to just put a tiny bit more blue. Or a tiny bit more blue onto that eye. So let's see if you guys can see what I'm looking at. I'm at that stage at the moment. So when we reach the stage of lockdown I'm in where you need new glasses. I'm like, I need new glasses, but I'm not really going into like cities and towns. Just because I don't need to. It's kind of cool. It's kind of really cool. Kind of sit out here, on the edge of nowhere. I've overdone like a little bit. There we go. So we have eyes done. The fix up is on the way for this chest. I should get better at looking after my paintbrushes. On my list of things to fix is how good or bad I am at looking after my brushes. I've got a bunch of they're broken toed, Series 2? Series 3? Mark 3. They're pretty nice. And then I've got a bunch of like old GW ones, some army painter ones. Like, I'm sure everyone has, right? Once they're going in the hobby for so long, they'll have basically like a bit of a broad selection of brushes. You go, like these ones are trash. I'll use them on anything. These ones are good, and I'll like look after them like they're like my daughter's like sort of future, and be like, no, you cannot touch this. Don't even look at this stuff. So yeah, so we're just working out here. So this is the Rifle Flesh shade. This is the gloss. So I want it to be quite darker. I don't need to put a lot on. There's only a small section. I've already messed with a small area, basically is what I'm saying. And this was in the whole getting the fit together. In fact, Thomas, who's many years, it's like, oh yeah, our local like GW manager had said to him, oh yeah, there's a little bit tricky to get to fit together. I'm like, oh, why didn't you tell me that like before? So yeah, I'm just gonna let the flesh shade go in there. That's fine. Pull in too much. So that'll dry, and then we'll add basically a layer of gold and some chrome to it, and some chrome to it to have that finish with. While that's drying, we'll add. I think the steel on the blade is probably fine to whack a bit of null on straight away. So essentially we're using like null oil and flesh shade depending on what it's for. So the gold gets the flesh shade, the steel gets the I guess the steel and the wings get the null oil, and I think the skin got the flesh shade as well. Actually, it's like pale flesh, washed down, then highlighted back up. Let's put that down. So that's all just waiting to dry. So close these things up. Not be attacked by insects. Yeah. That sounds good. It's been a long hot day. I'm partaking in a bit of a corn leg. But yeah, basically we've got this the wings that look probably ready to go, or if not quite, they will be in the next like 5 minutes. We've got to start slapping some paint down onto the stonework. I'm kind of like, I want to deal with the airbrush, but it's been fighting me so much. I'm like, oh, I end up just like splattering the legs with brown and grey and cry. What do we think? Maybe. I think the tree is just going to be done by hand because that's the riskiest bit. At which point I'm like, well, I may as well just do like the lot. I'll just basically do not a lot on it. It's basically going to be like greys, wash it down, and dry brush it up. Probably is all we need to do on like this section, like the wall and things like that. And some highlights, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So first, we should look for my small dry brush, which we have. So we're gonna just get some white. So how much have we got in this? So we've got dead white. That'll be the what we're looking at. So, a bit on the palette, and then brush and then just swirl it around to get most of the paint off, and then off we go. So it should be like pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Just make sure we're getting enough off. Just rub it across the feathers. I'm just trying to pick out the edges basically, and anything like there's lots of like little cuts in the wings. I'm not sure if they're meant to be like necessarily cuts or just like where the feathers break. If you see on there, actually, you can pick out where we like apply it. So basically we'll just do a once over on each side. And then we'll make sure we're balancing out. This is a nice rough end, but it'll get us all this texture basically in the wings to just stand out a little bit easier. Basically, you darken it down to bring it back up. It's all about the layers. Just like in Lord of the Rings, it's all about layers. You lay your armour, you lay your combats. I didn't realise how movable the wings were until I'm doing this bit here. Being careful to not be too rough. But yeah, I was waxing lyrical if you missed it earlier. If you what you do while you paint. Do you watch stuff? Do you watch painters while you paint? Do you watch movies? Do you watch trash telly? Saying I've been watching the new Dune trailer, like, and salivating basically because I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so cool. I really think it is. I got high hopes. The cast looks awesome. It looks like it's done this monumental scale, and I'm very much looking forward to see how it plays out. And it's out, like, I think the week of my lovely wife's birthday, so which hopefully means we're in a better chance to get babysitters to be like, oh yeah, okay, on a nice romantic evening, watch Dune. Power goals. That's what we want. So on wing, where you have the ability there to make the comparison. If I move the palette that way, it might be a bit easier with what we're looking at. And then we'll do, once that's dry, basically once we've done this both wings, both sides, we'll go back over and we'll do a second dry brush of dead white, of pure white, basically, over the wings to bring out as much of these little details as we can. Where we've got all the shadows underneath, like the feathers, where it's transitioning from different feather sizes and stuff. Also, that lets us basically pick out all of the nicks, all of the edges, just like in a really easy way. As I was saying earlier, there's different ways you could do it. This could be like washes. This could be dry brushing. This could be doing it individually. You could just do like edge highlighting on the feathers. I've seen some people painting like strokes on the feathers, which I'm kind of like not sold on. Like sometimes it looks good, but it doesn't always. You don't want to get to this point of a model, right, and then be like, I don't like it. You know, sell yourself on what you know you're gonna like, you know you want on it. I say that this is my first Stormcast model. It's my first Age of Sigmar model for since lockdown. Really, I did like some touching up with some like siege demons and stuff that I had. I was getting rid of basically, so kind of did the touch ups to what I'd already been working on to make sure they were all kind of on par. I didn't want to like sell a guy 60 horrors where 40 of them were one colour, and then he'd have to try and colour match what I'd done with an airbrush without one, things like that. It's like, yeah, let's be a good guy. So I did that. But this is the first like real time I put into any Age of Sigmar models since COVID basically began. So I'd only just started playing. Before COVID, we had a local event called Sheffield Slaughter, run by the Dragon Slayers, who are basically our local club, who are one of the oldest Games Workshop clubs in the world outside of like actual Games Workshop, which is kind of cool. So it means like we've got like a lot of experience, a lot of stories, a lot of history. Yeah, generally speaking, what I meant was I played a bunch of games. I played maybe like 4 to 6 games. It's like, yeah, go on, I'm in. Bought a load of Siege off one of the guys in clubs. I bought it on like second hand on the cheap because I live on a bit of a hobby budget. I try not to splurge. I'm a carer, so I'm at home looking after kids and my other half. So I kind of try to like recycle my hobby budget. So rather than being like, oh yeah, while I was working in IT before, while doing like, oh yeah, I've got this amount of money coming in, we'll spend this much money on minis this month. Instead, it's what can I make out of minis this month? Like, can I sell some stuff that I've not touched or that I don't play anymore, or a game that I don't play anymore, and then I'll basically be like, oh, that goes into the hobby budget then, right? So I can now afford to buy some more models to replace the ones I've just got rid of, which works out with space as well, because I've got little kids. Clothes and toys take up a lot of space in my life. Not my clothes and toys. Well, I guess yeah, my clothes and toys, I suppose, as well as their clothes and toys. But, so yeah, I work to like that premise of the circle of hobby budget, rather than buying buy. Like some people have got the disposable income to do so, like fair play. If you want to spend your money buying an army every month, if you're like a good enough paid job, or you just don't have much like drains on your resources, like kids eat your money. Yeah, if you don't have many like responsibilities and stuff, or like financial responsibilities, why not? Like, you love the game, why not buy the newest army if you want to play it? Why not buy like the newest airbrush, the newest whatever? Buy a ticket to every event you can. Life's for the living, right? So do it. Do it. So you can see there like the difference we've made from it being like a little bit drab not so drab, I suppose. A little bit boring, I guess, right? It's just like, you could see like the ombre colours, which was nice, which I wanted, but you couldn't really like see like the definition of the texture between the different feathers. You couldn't like make out what was really going on. Whereas now it looks a lot more like feathers. Yeah, you can see the difference. So just going to finish this side. Maybe it needs a bit more white in it. I know we're just going to flip her over and basically just do it again. But like, yeah, be looking at specific areas. So yeah, the whites will bring out a little bit more. Like maybe these like smaller feathers here. Work on like certain areas basically, but don't worry yourself too much about this sort of thing. Let's try and stop the movements going too far. But you can see where we're picking out extra white. So this is like underneath the wing, where that transition of colour goes from like the white back to the blue. Obviously then we'll pick out all of the little nicks in the wing, the grooves. Like the level of detail that goes into these sculpts these days is like phenomenal. So I started playing wargaming, I guess, in like the 90s. Like RPGs was my actual thing, and then my older brother, was like, you should have a look at this. We're playing these games. So I saw Games Workshop stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And we had an independent like gaming shop in Cardiff, which is like the big city. So it took me an hour to get to Cardiff, so it shows how much in the sticks I was there as well. But it was like before Games Workshop had stores in like every major city, we had Encounter Games in Cardiff, and they sold basically everything. It was like, you know, any like RPG system you could imagine, they had it. They were the only place you could buy Games Workshop stuff unless you like just ordered from Games Workshop. If you had like the paper form from buying like your Warhammer compendiums, stuff like that. So it was cool. I think they ended up sort of, I'm not sure how thin they were like stretched, because Games Workshop in Cardiff opened literally around the corner from them, but they had so many different like different games they stocked. That's kind of like, well, surely Games Workshop isn't going to have that much effect. It's going to have some effect, right? But they lasted like a good while afterwards, I think. I seem to remember. But memory is apparently a very flexible thing. If you're into memory games. So here we have. There you go. Let's resettle the camera. We can see like the dark areas still have like that definition. Obviously we've got the lighter areas, that transition. So we're going to go back over it. We're going to work through the white a bit more. So back onto this side. So we're looking at this like semicircle of the longer feathers, basically where they meet the next layer, next level. I want to just put a little bit more white back into there. LinkedIn is very helpfully telling me I've got job alerts at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. Thanks, LinkedIn. Cheers. I'll get right on that. But yeah, we're just working back out to get some of that white back onto the model. That brighter definition. That's all white to the palette again too. So, what do people think about wet palettes? Because I've seen so much stuff. I understand the premise behind it, like how good it can be, but also it's not hard to look online and go, this is how you make a wet palette for like next to nothing basically. I'm kind of like, should I just do that? Essentially, like, it's not much more than what I'm using right now. Like effort-wise, like should I be just doing that? I've seen some painters say that it's made like a huge difference to them, and some say it's like it's handy. But that's as far as it goes. It's interesting. It's very like a good split between like recommendations and of it is a must-have to it's handy, but you know, I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about it, or too much money worrying about it. It's kind of cool. So we're just working out this white again, as you see. So we're going towards the tips, getting like a good amount of the white back on, and we want to make sure that we'll go from this side and this level of wing. Lay of the wing. Just do a little bit of picking up onto the other wing. So we want to basically make sure we're trying to balance. My nose is so itchy. Thanks, Seifu. I think we're picking out the details nicely enough. We've got the section almost like. Almost there. Now we're going to swap over. So we can see, or you should be able to see, like how we've got like that blended colour still, but we've really like softened up the blend, so it's not just like you can see this is just being airbrushed, the colours. It's more of you can see where. I don't know, wipe it after. It's awkward. That's okay. It's fixed. Instead, you can see where the feathers sort of blend and come together, instead of it just being a case of you can see where the airbrush is sprayed. It's like some minis, some paint jobs. You look at it and you'll go, oh well, that's airbrushed. And I guess the best airbrushing is when you don't. You don't get to do that, and instead that's a really lovely paint job, rather than that's done this way. And obviously there'll be people that'll go up. You can look at this or look at this if they're used to doing it themselves or used to looking for it, I guess. But I think that's kind of cool that you don't have to make it look like it's been airbrushed. Like, does this look like it's been airbrushed now? I'm not sure. It did, most certainly did. Like, before I started working on the wings tonight, it looked like a quick airbrush hatchet job, effectively. Like that. Which is kind of interesting. I had like some of the followers going, oh yeah, like how you've done it, the blues. I'm like, it looks a little bit too. I'm painting an angel, like a warrior angel, respawning warrior angel, but I'm like, I think it looks a little bit too fake, which is hilarious, right? When you think about that statement, doesn't look realistic enough. My respawning avenging angel. So just make sure we're getting all these edges as well. we want to be looking back to the different sides here to check that I'm bringing the same amount back on. So we did have like a bit of a disparity in where the white was. Now I think it's a lot better. Quite happy with. Yeah, I wasn't entirely certain how if I'd be able to recover the wings enough for my liking, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm liking my choice. So I was looking at like how I'd want to do it earlier. Did I want to do like some glazing? Did I want to do some just like a lot of edge highlighting? You know, and turns out this is right. This is what I wanted. So we've got both these sides looking pretty balanced with the longer feathers, and then we're just going to do a little bit of work on the inner feathers. This is a little bit more targeted, where we're doing like the upper parts of them. But again, we'll do exactly the same. We're going to do both these rows of short feathers on the one side, and now basically look at the other side just to make sure we're matching it. So we're not doing a quarter of the way or 1.5 the way on the other or something. I was going to say my music's gone all quiet. Let's come back on. It's fine, let's come back. But yeah, if you're enjoying watching me as well, come and say hello. If you're watching me on Facebook and on Twitch, obviously this is live, so you come and say hi. Let me know how you've been coping, what hobbying you've managed to get done while the sun has been, like, you know, punishing us for wanting it. I say, like, yeah, it's nice. I got to do like a load of stuff with my kids over the last week. We've had the pool out. We've gone to friends who have like land and fields and stuff, and there's been much playing in the sun. I've pushed swings lots. I've run around lots. So we've got like that easy bend there. These short feathers. That's not too bad. I'm just going to do these 2 longer sections. We'll get a bit more paint out. And then we'll do the back of the wings as well. Got very mellow tunes on the go here. So looking okay. I'm sticking to my paper a lot, but I'd rather I stick to my paper than we have issues. But yeah, quite happy with that. This last long one I want to make sure I'm doing. Happy with that. That's a little bit too much blue there, so and then swap to the other side. So this is how we end up with the wings. That's the last bit on that this wing. I do. I'm going to tell you the left wing, her left wing, and my left wing. So it's going to put a bit more white down on the palette. basically just going to go back across, and we're just doing these longer ones, longer feathers. So we're catching like that inner section here. And this long feather here on its own. See, the most outward of them. Make sure we're copying the other side as well. Looking okay. It's looking pretty even, I think, in how much right in. Let's go. Let's check. This is fine. So here we go. Stuck to my thing. There we have the wings. Maybe it's a little bit dark here, so I'm just gonna put just a little bit more onto the brush. Side. Like that. Right. One side done. The other side. Not so done. I don't mind taking my time. I've really enjoyed like painting like her. Let's make sure we're catching the wings with something so she doesn't put too much pressure on it. Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing it. She's my first Stormcast model. My first Age of Sigmar model in a long time. And it's such a beautiful sculpt. And it's so interesting, right? There's so many different like things going on, so I wanted to really work through the metals, which I managed to do. I'm quite happy with. At some point I need to start giving some time to learning how to do non-metallic metal. But this model was not the one. Not the model to start on. I basically was like, when I bought Dominion, I was like, there's a couple of models I want. I'm not going to play Stormcast, I'm not going to play Trill Boys. It's like I just want to paint these models. And she's one of them, and this guy. See, right, the banner, the Stormcast banner guy is one, and the other one is the Orc Shaman. But he's destined to become a necromancer. I think there's probably as many necromancers out of that box as there are Orc Shamans. like legit. He's just like he's just hunched over. He's in a creepy cowl, and he's got a ginormous skull on his back. He just screams. He's like, yeah, I'm totally not a necromancer. So I've seen various people doing head swaps and stuff. I'm like, I might just literally just like give him like a faceless cowl. That might be where we go instead with it, rather than because I'm quite new to Age of Sigmar stuff. My bits box, for instance, I don't have like a million options to go. Oh, I'll just do this. Instead, I'm like, oh, I could just green stuff some fixes for it. So this again, looking at the wings here, we're going to do the one side, and then we're going to transition across and do the other side of the same section, right? So we're doing there we go. This is what we want. That outer layer. We'll catch the edges as well as we go, but without doing too much white. And then get off me bit of paper. And then we're doing the same. Same on this side, but also we've got a little bit of work to do. But once these wings are finished, we've got a little bit of armour to catch up on. That armour fix to tidy up and add some more layers to. But apart from that, there's not a lot to do apart from slapping some brown and some greys down for the scenic base side of things. So this is okay, we're just making sure that we're getting a good contrast of the colours. Make sure we're capturing all these nicks in the wings, all different layers of colour, different textures, I guess. But we want to make sure that it's matching. So at the moment, it's not. So we need to do it a bit more, a bit heavier on the white. Or just do making sure we're doing enough white basically to match the other side. Okay. So just get these outer feathers done. I think we might need a bit more. A little bit more. But I'm pretty happy with how these feathers are coming together. A bit better. Just a bit brighter for these the long feathers. And then we'll just look at the shorter sections, tidy them up, add a little bit more where we need to. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. Cool, that's the next layer done. And then just do the smaller upper feathers. Again, we're just doing exactly the same, so catching the top sections of the feathers, pull it around, and then we'll basically do a match on the other side of the wings. Make sure we're doing an equivalent amount. Shouldn't take long. And then yeah, just fixing up some extra gold, which should dry by then. Just gonna do. That's nicely enough. And the longer feathers we'll just leave to come back to in a second. So we're just doing these shorter ones where we want this inner, the white towards like the base of the feather. And like the blue would still stand out towards the tips. Blend that round. We will basically be looking at both sides to make sure we're achieving the same sort of thing on each side. missed a lot. We've missed like this intermediary feather here, so it's feather. You get it, right? You get it. There you go. Alright, and then back to the right side, on my right side. And we're just going to clear up these ones. So the longer one's just going to get this white back blended in. We'll do a little bit of, make sure we're picking out the edges. And we'll be finishing off. Feels good to be like finishing her. She's like, I haven't, despite having those the heat breaks essentially, COVID and heat breaks, I haven't like not wanted to go back. I thought I saw some move in the corner where I'm like some random like cat come into the house. A lot of semi-wild cats live like around my village. We've got like lots of farms. It's not a bad thing. It means like you don't have to worry too much about like mice or moles or rats or whatever, because I've got a house cat, and like there's so many cats that patrol that are aware and are like on the hunt for their daily vitamins. So let's have a look. Pull that back a bit. So we'll pull that back. We'll go here. I think the left side needs a little bit. Just a little bit more. I think I've done. I'm just going to do the top section here, kind of separately. Okay. So, if I zoom out a little bit, let's have a little look at how the wings have come out. I'm quite happy with that. I think they've still got like the lovely blend of the different colours, but they very much still have, have much more like a realistic look to them. So there she is. There she is. Let's just wash off my dry brush. That's done for now. And then we'll do just a bit of highlights on some of the last sections. I said earlier in the series I wasn't sure if I was going to bother doing like the scenic based stuff on the stream. It's not particularly interesting. So we might literally finish the model as is, and then be like, I'll just finish off the basic and stuff over the next couple of evenings. Stick some pictures up when it's finished. I'm not sure there's much huge point in me showing it all. Put the dry brush away. We need you for a bit. But we do want some of this gold and chrome. So we've got a bit of gold, bit of chrome, all from the same range, all from the Vallejo metal colour range. So wrong way. So we're looking at a chest basically. We're looking at fixing up this chest piece. So we've added the initial gold, and then we've shaded it down, and now we're basically just looking to build it back up again. face guard thing. I guess it's like that's part of a gorget, right? This is get this lovely lush gold onto her chest breastplate, and then we're going to add just a little bit of silver of chrome to it. So what we're looking at is like just essentially taking the gold towards like a white gold. We're going to do like very thin paint here, so we can afford to build up a little bit. This section's not having much more, so it's just going to get of chrome. I want to have this line. This was there. Guess this higher level here. It's like some really nice, interesting bit of colour change. That's okay. And from there, I just realised I put we've got the chrome out. I'm like, let's do these little lines, little highlights in the spear. See this? That's right. So it's just picking out that line from the spear. Maybe a little too thick there, but hopefully that will be. Oh, I dull down in a minute. That nice edge there on the spear. While we've got the chrome out. I'm kind of creating like these false shimmers, I guess. Shimmers, glints. There we go. That's the done, I think. So it's now just really to do a once over and know what's left to look at. Yeah, I'm pretty damn happy with the wings. It's good. Kind of look the glow of the eyes, I think. I think I'm quite happy with the glow. It's hard to super tell. what I need to do is just super carefully clean up the eye area. That's what we want. But apart from that very, very exciting bit of staircase in wood, I think how we're done. So just going to add a little bit more chrome to the chest. Working on like the very top highlights, basically, where we can have like a little bit more of more fun from the shine. Chest here as well. Yeah, I think we've got that gleam back pretty much, which is what I was upset about losing on the chest when I put it together. Here. And I think we've somehow lost a bit on the comments, the top comments, so we're just gonna have a look at that. Big dive bomb by moths there. This is like the price. Do you paint with the door open and risk attack, or do you paint with the door closed and risk basically just being too bloody hot? So just doing the edges. A bit of colour up there, but if we have a look, so we've finished the wings, so I'm pretty happy with like that transition with the wings. Looks good. We've got the breastplate's now been fixed. We fixed that like random bit of gold lining in the spear that I managed to pick up somewhere, and also we've completed the wings, completely completed the wings, and yeah. So with that, it's coming up to 11, like only like an hour and a half in, but yeah, there's some easy fixes for that. These last sections. I'm not sure it's the best use of stream time is that, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how she looks. It's a little bit more like touching up, I think, maybe on the cloak, but yeah, I think I'll have a little look at that in a second. But the majority, I think, we're calling, and then we'll basically just pick up the slack here with the actual base. That might be a tomorrow night job. It's been a long day, and if I zoom out a little bit, I tell you what, let's zoom in. This is my favourite section. Like that knee, like the griffin head on the knee. I think it's just like it was fantastic to work on. Just particularly liked it. is that an odd thing? I don't know. But, got the blue glow from the eyes. We've got like the glint on the gem. We've got a little bit more silver on this like little, it's like moon shaped epaulet. I'm not sure. If we zoom in too far on the runes, I'm not happy. But as soon as we like go out any distance, I am. So there she is, Yndrasta, the Celestial Spear. Yeah, I'm really happy with the wings. Really happy with how that's turned out. I think the armour was like a lot of fun. I like doing like the different layers of the armour. Like if anything made me go, I could take Stormcast, it'd be this model. Like this model might have sold me that I could play Stormcast. I could go, yeah, this is cool enough to play. But I've got other things to paint first before I get back into Age of Sigmar for like myself, for like my army wise. And I've if you've been watching the stream or if you've been listening to me talk elsewhere, I'm definitely playing Soulblight Gravelords. It looks super cool, unless I just buy a load of grots. The lure of the goblins and spiders, and yeah, it might be too much. It might be too much for me to handle. But yeah, I'm gonna call that a night, and then yeah, we'll just I'm not gonna bother with the scenic base with the stream. I think that's just nice and simple. If people did want me to do, like let me know if you're watching this back on YouTube. Like stick something in the comments or stick something on my Facebook, and maybe next time I will like do it like full on to completion. But I'm a bit like it's been a long day. I'm really happy with how the wings have come out. Happy with the fix with the armour. And the blade, and I'm gonna enjoy a bit of recording, chill out, get some admin stuff done, get some admin work done. My kids are on holiday now. It's like summer holidays, so my daytime streams are unlikely to be like a regular thing. But what I will be doing is trying to get back on doing like daytime gaming streams, where if I can get people who are happy to play during the day, I'll basically try and tap them up, get it running, because I can set it running. I don't have to be like monitoring it constantly. I don't have to be there. And then evenings we'll split between doing gaming, maybe a bit of info. Like I like to do like faction primers essentially. So I'm back into Grimkin for Warmer Hordes. So that's what we'll be seeing me painting next, is like Defiled Archons. I'm building Old Witch. And I think I've got a Wanderer and maybe some beasts to paint. I can't really remember. But yeah. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, hit the bells, hit the wherever, feed the social media gods. Thank you very much for joining me, and it's been a pleasure. And that's Yndrasta. Yndrasta, the Celestial Spear. What a beaut. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.